Hey, everybody, and welcome back to our Score Tennessee special feature podcast YouTube video interview extravaganza. We probably should come up with a more concise name. At this point, I'm just like, it's all of the things wrapped into one. I am so excited to be here today with Kiera Henderson. She is going to tell us how to get and manage and maximize working with an assistant, which is going to be really, really helpful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Anna Veja. I appreciate you for allowing me to come on and share to the world how to effectively utilize a virtual assistant in all its capacity and all its glory. So I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely, which is there's a whole podcast for this. So let's start with, tell us a little bit about you, because I need everyone to understand why you are the perfect person to tell us about this.
Okay, awesome. So my claim to fame is I started Assistant on the Go, which is an administrative-based virtual assistant company. And it was also on-site administrative assistants as well. I started in 2017. Before that, I got my master's in business administration. And then before that, I have a big sister. So you know how that works. You're automatically an assistant when you come in the world, right?
I am the big sister, so I can't relate to that. I'm just yeah.
So your sister is the assistant to her big sister. So, worked in several different fields in my working career as an administrator. In terms of, I worked in a healthcare IT company. I've done numerous health human resources operations. I've done so much, and all the things that I've done led me back to circling around and becoming the assistant on the go, which I branded.
So, and how long have you had your business?
So I started in 2017. So in 2017, I started it. And the way that I started is kind of a unique story in itself. So I studied abroad, and I went to Europe. And I was so amazed at all the entrepreneurs in the world. And it was just like, why are we not doing this? And why am I doing something, going to a job that I necessarily don't love to do every day? And so when I came back, I was so refreshed, and I was like, yeah, this is happening. The world needs this, and I'm going to be the change that it needs to see.
Good for you. Good for you. I think a lot of people are asking themselves that question right now, and a lot of people are starting their own businesses. So, as we're recording this, it's the early spring of February of 2022. And so we've been talking a lot about how things have shifted and changed since a global pandemic. But a lot of people are quitting jobs that they don't like. They're realizing that some of that work-life integration is more important than, the steady traditional job. And so we're seeing a lot more people open up business, especially women of color, right? Running these successful businesses, which is awesome. And so with that comes a lot of new challenges, right? So hey, I've done this, and you actually just mentioned it. I've done this in other places, and now I think I want to do it for myself, or even do it for other people. And so we've actually talked before about this book called The E-Myth Revisited, where they talk about you being a tactician and then turning that into an entrepreneurial journey. It sounds like that's what happened with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It did. And, one of the things that I wanted to do when I started my business was I wanted to be, again, the change that I wanted to see. But I also wanted to help. I would say I wanted to help the little girl in me, because I think everybody has a dream, and they're just not always able to chase that dream. And so for me, the ability to help, other mothers, I'm not a mother myself, but I remember being a child, and my parents worked so much, 9 to 5 all the time. They weren't able to be the where I needed them to be all the time, because you can't be on all the time. Let's just face it. And so there was a lot of games, that they would have to miss, or track meets or stuff like that, because of their work obligations. And so for me, I always attribute it to the little girl inside of me that wanted my mom and dad to be at every little game that I had. And so if I could give that piece of it back to another parent or another child or something like that to afford them the ability to not have to work so darn hard in the business that they love. First of all, getting into the land of entrepreneurship itself is a step, right? And then you have to go from that step, you have to take another step, which is to learn the actual business part. And I always refer it back, like a baker didn't get into the baking business because she wanted to do paperwork. She wanted to bake, so she got into a bakery. But then it comes with all these other things, and it's like, listen, babe, outsource that. Focus on what makes you happy. Do that, and let the rest be what it is. And find somebody that can help you in that area.
So that's a really great sort of segue, right? Because, like you said, a lot of people get into business, start a business, entrepreneurs, that kind of thing, or even buy a business that already exists because of something they love or they're passionate about. And so they go, I want to bake. Man, I just want to bake. And we would be great to have a bakery and do that. And wouldn't that be amazing? And then they get in and they're like, wait, business licenses and taxes and payroll and invoicing and, all of the state, and federal legalities around HR. And then like, okay, well, now I have to have a company culture, and now I have to be business development or sales. And now I have to be, I got to learn all this marketing stuff. And it quickly comes from, I just wanted to bake cupcakes to when am I going to find time to actually bake cupcakes? And I think a lot of people will end up hiring out for the thing that they were the most passionate about. So maybe they're more likely to go find more people that they can teach how to bake cupcakes, and then they become a business manager rather than a cupcake baker. And some of that is okay. Some of that is just growth. But like, how do you help? Because I want to talk about assistance, right? How do we get assistance? Yeah. How do you help people understand when is it the right time? When are you going from, I just started a business and I'm figuring it out, to, hey, maybe I need some help around here? What are those warning signs?
So I would say the overwhelm. I would say when you are overwhelmed, that is when you need to be looking to hire. If you ask another person, a coach or a mentor that you may have gotten into the business, they'll say at a certain dollar level. But for me, I believe in protecting your peace, and I believe in keeping a sound mind so that you can make the business decisions that you need to make ongoing. But if you're bogged down by so much other things, you're not able to do that. And so for me, I would say when overwhelm sets in, that's when you need to start thinking about hiring. Now, after the overwhelm is set in, you understand that that's happening. Then you need to think about, okay, what can I literally give up without costing the business on the back end? So, for example, when I first started, I did hourly, right? So I told my clients there's like a 5-hour limit, right? So, or minimum. So like, if you need for 5 hours every week, I'll come into your organization and I'll do whatever it is that you need to be able to outsource so that you can continue to function and grow and scale your business. So I'm not saying that every assistant that you hires has to be 50 plus, not 50 plus, but like 40 plus hours.
You don't always need a full-time assistant.
Exactly. You can get someone right there where you're planted at, like right there where you need them, and they can meet you exactly where you need to be met at. And so that's what I would say when the level of overwhelm sets in, start looking.
So let's say I'm feeling that overwhelm. And by the way, just as like disclosure, I started to feel that overwhelm in January, and I went and hired a part-time outsourced assistant because it was like, it's here in Nashville area, whatever. And somebody I know for a while, but I was like, hey, I need you to give me someone for 3 months. Because for the next 3 months, I have new people that are coming in. I have new employees coming in that we're trying to train, new clients that we're coming in trying to launch. I am launching like a whole new brand for the company. We have X, Y, and Z. All of these projects need to be cleaned up, blah, blah, blah. We're doing all this stuff for 2020. I got time. And so I did 5 hours a week. And it was like 5 hours a week is enough for you to come in and to take just this stuff off of my plate.
How did you feel? If I can just ask you a question. How did you feel?
So much better. Oh my God, so much better. I will tell you this though, and this is where the next question is. I am a super type A personality. And so immediately before I literally was like, okay, hey, email shot. Like I need an assistant. Let's have a call next week. Then I immediately went and started making a list right? Because my thought was they're going to come in and they're going to have no idea what any of this is. And I mean, I understand that there's a core functionality of like, can you help me manage a calendar, right? Like that's pretty basic. But like outside of that, it's like, wait, what do you need me to do with this particular document? I've never seen this template before. How should I be cleaning it up or changing it? So I had to go in and sort of work ahead of them a little bit. But what I found was that I was doing maybe 20% of the work that I normally would have done. And then they did the rest, and all I had to do was review and approve it. And it was like, oh, okay, well, then that just like, that's that 80-20 rule, right? Like now I'm doing 20% of the work on the things, this is the focus, this is the goal, and then giving it to them. So I'd love for you to speak a little bit about people like me, right? I'm getting to that place of overwhelm. I don't know what to do. Am I hiring someone to start baking? Or am I hiring someone to start helping me with some of these other things that maybe I don't even really want to do, right? How do we make that list? Where do we go to in our business to find that pointed help?
So I always like to tell my clients or whoever I'm working with that whenever you are feeling a level of overwhelm, okay, sit back and think about what you do every day. So that may look like different for everybody. Some people can do it right before they go to bed. Somebody might have to be sitting in their office chair and like, okay, what do I do? Figure out what you do. Make a list of the things that you do. Also make on a separate list the things that you want to outsource. Because the things on that list that you make up to what you do every day, you maybe can't outsource that. So if it has something to do with payroll or something data specific or something that you don't necessarily feel comfortable with outsourcing.
HR files. You might not want to give someone access to all of your company's HR files and all of that info. Okay.
Exactly. Unless they've had the training, the certifications that are needed to be able to perform that particular job function. But other than that, most of the time, you're able to outsource majority of the work. So when you're looking at your list, what I recommend everyone does is write that list out, circle in red, which is different than the black that you wrote in. Circle in red what you can give away, what you can give away, what you can give away. You would be surprised at the end of that list what you find. I mean, even down to something so minute as to sending an email to a particular client that you have to send out weekly. Or the follow-up emails that you have to send out weekly. A lot of people, we're so in our business, we're so high level that we don't actually stop to think about the things that you did when you were the technician. I mean, because you are the technician in the business, but you're also the CEO. So it's like the things that we do naturally as a CEO, we don't think to dumb that down a little bit and start reflecting in our mind what we did when we first started from the second we signed the documents to be a business. We don't think about those things. So I always tell my clients, think about those things, circle that, let's go from there.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so just to be, again, and this is something that I've had some experience with, not as an executive assistant, but I actually have a company that helps place internships or like interns, right, with companies. And one of the things that we found is that people would love to have an intern. They have no idea, like executive assistants, they have no idea what to ask them to do. So they're like, I don't know, like, I'd love to have some help around here. And then they're like, okay. And we're like, great, here's an intern that wants to help. What can they do? And they're like, you can put these files in that cabinet. And we're like, is that really what you brought? So like, okay. And so what we did is we came up with some examples. So just for some examples, there's a lot of administrative tasks. So things like calendar setting, calendar appointment setting. There are things around, you mentioned like getting things signed and filed correctly. There are things around, my favorite thing to always put in there is like things like marketing. Like a lot of times you can bring somebody in who understands your industry or has a cursory understanding of your business that can write your blogs or create social media posts for you or generate your emails. And then all you have to do is review and approve those things before they get put out, right? So there's some marketing components there. What other things do you hear on the regular? Like when you're placing assistance for clients, what are some of those recurring tasks?
So calendar management, email follow-up, period. So like if it's something like a meeting.
No one has time to follow up with anybody. Let's just go ahead and say that. I got to hire a person to follow up with you because I don't have time for the babysitting. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, like, take notes during a meeting. Like, I've done that when I was in the admin seat. I did that for clients. Take meeting notes. Actually, when I was going on site, doing the things. So, like, one of the things that I did with clients was, like, if I go on site, they're like, I have to. This needs to be done. Like, I even went, and that's an assistant, right? You tell them what to do and they do it. But I mean, it was down to I need a key to go. Like, I moved into, like, so, like, my client moved into a new building. And they needed a key made to fit their exact keyhole. They don't have to get up. They're on the calls, making the big bucks. I'm at the store doing the things that need to be done. I'm on set. So I have, like, different clients in different fields. So it's like down to the fact that, okay, coffee needs to be done. Like, not just coffee because go get me a coffee. It's like, okay, you have to provide these people breakfast because that was a part of the contract. So you don't have that done. I'm going to do that while you're on set producing your movie. Like, it's little stuff that we don't ever think about, or we tend to dismiss, or we don't think about that needs to be actually done within the business. Another thing, with going back to that list, outside of you circling the things that you can let go, on another list, the second list that I was talking about, put on there what you would like to have done.
So it'd be really great if your biggest dreams.
Like, even if you're not doing it now, right. Even if you're not doing it now, put on what you would like to see outsourced to someone else and to grow the furtherness of the business.
I'd love to give an example for that. So one of the things that that I talk a lot about with SCORE. So I do training. I just did a SCORE Memphis webinar on networking. So it's networking that works, right? Because no one ever teaches you how to network. No one ever is like, nowhere in high school, they're like, all right, let's learn how to shake hands and everyone's going to learn how to manage a Rolodex of business cards. I really just dated myself there, but you know what I'm saying, right? This is before CRMs and all those things, but like, and you don't learn it. Like in college, there's not a networking 101, not when I went to college anyway. And anyone that I ask is always like, no, I didn't learn that. And then we get into a business environment or we open our own business and it's like, how are you going to run and grow the business? You got to meet people and you have to sell things and you have to like communicate, like be part of the community. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this really important skill was never taught to me. Never. And so one of the things that I like to do when you're talking about what are you doing all the time? What could you give to someone else? And what would you love to have done? One of my favorite examples of this is networking. I have to be in the room to network because it's my business, right? And I have to be the face. But I do not need to register for the event, put it on my own calendar, figure out the map direction. Like, nope, like there's a GPS for that. I also don't need to follow up and connect with everyone that I met on LinkedIn. Nor do I need to send all the follow-up emails to invite people to coffee or put those calendar appointments on my list or figure out where, like, see what I'm saying? Like, so it goes from I'm doing all of that right now and I can only do so many to, boy, it'd be really great if I taught someone how to register for me, for the event and put it on my calendar. And then, hey, here's my LinkedIn and can you log in and just, send this list of people, this message or something. And then it goes to, boy, what would you love to have? Exactly. Well, man, I'd love to have somebody log into my email, pretend to be me and follow up with these people for the next couple of months and schedule these coffee appointments to make the time that I spent going and being at the networking event worth it, right? So it goes from I went to a networking event and I didn't have time to do anything else, and that networking event was a waste of time. No, it wasn't. You just didn't do the whole thing because you didn't have time or you didn't know how, right? So I really love that example. Make a list of everything you're currently doing, make another list of the things that you could give to somebody else, and make a dream wish list of, boy, it'd be really great if we could. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that like you said, a lot of people, they're so caught and consumed with, okay, well, if I can do it, and I get this all the time. If I have to tell you how to do it, then why do I need you to do it? And for me, I love that. I'm like, think about what you just said. Why would you ask somebody to do it? If I could do it, because you know how to do it, then why would I need you to come in and do it? Because I know how to do it. So the same respect that you're saying to yourself as you know how to do it, imagine that freedom you'd feel if it was the other way around.
Yeah, if somebody else was doing it. So one of the things that I'd really like to talk to you about and get your opinion on, because we have some of this in our company, but let's talk about systems.
Okay. I like systems. I love systems.
I'm not even joking. Like literally, I was on a dog walk earlier today and we had 3 minutes of conversation around my preferred way to box things up during a moving experience. Like if you're moving the house, I was like, I like to get the little boxes and put the little boxes in the other boxes and color code it with it. My boyfriend's like, I'm sure you do. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm really excited about the systems. Here's my question. One of the things that I think I heard a hesitation, right? If I can do it better, why would I hire you to do it? If I can do it faster, if I am the one that the clients like the best, if I am whatever, right? There's a lot of things. I'm the best at it. Why would I hire you to do it? Right? And so I think that oftentimes keeps people from scaling their business because it's a short-term mindset that says in this moment, it's faster for me to do this. Talk to me a little bit about what happens when we develop a system and take the time to, let's say, train someone or develop a training resource like a video or a template or a checklist. So talk to me a little bit about how that works, especially with an outsourced company like yours.
Yeah. So basically, when you're taking the time to actually sit down and think about what it is that you want to see done and what it is that because a lot of times we're on autopilot. Again, we don't even think, like if you were to tell me, okay, something within my business, my organization, I know how to do that. It's on the back. It's like the back of my hand. I know exactly what it looks like. So I'm going to do it. But then to have to sit down and break that down, it makes you as the owner think about, is that really the best use of my time? Am I really doing that the best? Of my ability? Could this be better? And so I think that a lot of things that people say, they don't really take the time to actually think about what they're saying before they actually say it. They just kind of go for it. I love it when they tell me that because it gives me the opportunity to say, okay, well, how's that working for you? Because I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, are you scaled where you want? Are you where you want to be? And 10 out of 10 times, they're not where they want to be.
Well, let's be honest. If they're having the conversation with you to begin with about potentially hiring an assistant, they've already admitted that they're not where they want to be for some reason.
Right. And I think that's when it comes. But then what happens after that point, after they've had a conversation and they're like thinking about, I need an assistant, blah, blah. I think that remorse seeps in because it looks like it's a reflection of them. And it's like, it's very so much a reflection of you. Sit in it, deal with it, feel all you're going to feel about it, and let's get this butt in gear and move on. Because the problem is you are not using the best of your time when you are sitting here giving excuses as to why things aren't done. And you can only, at the end of the day, you can blame yourself as to why things aren't done. Because again, you know everything it is about your business. This person has no idea. So the ability for them to learn it and grasp it, that creates more opportunity for more positions. Because it's like, if you train this person, you don't have to train anybody anymore. My favorite thing to do is tell all of my business owners, I'm like, listen, record yourself doing your process. Even if it looks stupid and even if you look like you just woke up on camera.
You just came into a very important part. And so if you are following along, you're listening on the podcast, you're watching on the video, whatever it is, y'all get a pen. If you are driving, I need you to mentally note this down, right? What you just said is a huge hesitation, especially right now. There is a great resignation going on. And there are a lot of business owners that are hesitant to hire someone, either an external, outsourced, part-time assistant or an internal person as a W-2, because they're scared that they're going to spend a lot of time training and investing in a single person and just giving them verbal knowledge. And then when they feel comfortable, that person's going to leave and they're going to have to start all over again with someone else. So here's the secret to fixing that problem. She is about to drop the truth bomb.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. So the truth is, you record the system so that you never have to touch it again. You train one person and you train yourself training that person. So when the next person comes on, because this person has chosen to go off and be a wife or go gallivant around the world, backpacking around Hawaii, whatever the funness or whatever they want to do, because let's face it, a lot of the working class is millennials now, so whatever, we kind of do what we want. Anyways, but to combat all of that is you train yourself. You literally train somebody by really sitting down and dissecting what it is that you do. You sit down on a video like I'm right now. If you're on a podcast right now, you can't see me, but I'm looking at my computer, and if I was training somebody, I'm just talking to them. And the beauty about it is once you do it one time, no matter what it is, because we are in the age of technology. So once we do it once, we never have to do it again. We only have to send the training.
One thing I will note, because my company is built on this. So I started the company just by myself, and I want to be a testimony to how well this works. I started the company when I was on unemployment. I was clinically depressed, having panic attacks. I was like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? I decided to start this company. It was a very exciting time, but very quickly I got too many clients and I hit overwhelm within the first 6 months. 17 clients. What am I going to do? I can't manage 17 clients, right? So I have to hire someone, but I can't let that person come in and do it their way because I already sold it my way, right? So I have to start training these people how to do it my way. And that's where I had to toggle with, but I can do it better, but I can do it faster, but the clients like me better and they want me to do it. Clients don't care as long as it gets done. Make sure that they know that you love them and that you're there if they need you, and that's it, right? And that's what we had to do. So what we started doing, and we use a project management system called Asana to manage all of our training resources and stuff. But we use a free Google Chrome extension called Loom. Are you familiar with Loom? Loom. It is a screen recording and forward-facing camera recorder. You don't have to upload the video to YouTube or Vimeo. You don't have it records your screen and or front-facing camera for videos just like this. You narrate, walk through, screen share, all those things. Mm-hmm. And the second you hit done, it automatically uploads it into this little library. And you can just name it like processing payroll, or whatever it is that you just taught somebody how to do. And I'm not joking. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos so that when we onboard people and go, it's in there. Like, here's a link. Like, this is the task you're supposed to do. It's in the system. You click the link to watch the tutorial. And then from there, people we'll take it and turn it into like task list. So if it's processing payroll, here in the video, someone said that these were the 10 steps. Make sure you do those 10 steps. Check, 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 check. Right? So it's a really great system to set up.
It is. And there's no excuse to not have it. I mean, I think at this point in the game, no matter what phase you are in your business, if you're just starting, congratulations.
Well, do it right.
Know that
you've heard it. You've heard it here, and now it's in there, and that's what I was going to say. So that's the thing. A lot of people will say, Anavia, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to come up with hundreds of training videos. Yeah, you do. You're already doing it. You're already running payroll. Just turn on the camera and narrate what you're doing as you do it one time. You're already doing it.
Exactly. And so for me, when people say, if I know how to do it better, then why do I need someone else? That is why you need somebody else. Because clearly you're doing something better, but it's not what's going to get you to the next level or where you want to see your business in 5 years. Because if all your business knows, and I've been at this spot and I'm still here, if all my business knows is me, I'm doing something wrong. If you can't call on a member of my team and you only want Kiara, something is not right. Because in life, I've realized you don't do something for yourself. You do it for the world. So if you only call on me, that says a lot about your relationship with me, but that says nothing about your relationship with my business. Because after I expire, what happens to my business?
Well, and not even expire. I mean, girl, one day I would like to Actually, I was going to say be on a beach because that's the thing. I'm a ginger and I do not need to be on a beach. Like I avoid it just absolutely no thank you. Like all of the sunscreen and like a tent and all of the things. I've literally brought a tent to the beach before and they're like, why are you even here? And I'm like, because y'all are here. I don't know what we're doing. Hate it. Anyway, my point is avoid the sun. My point is that you might want to do other things. One of the things you mentioned at the top of this call was how hard your parents were working and how many games and extracurricular time that they had to miss with their kids. Man, I really like to spend time with my family. I love spending time with my friends. I started a business, one, to help people with their businesses because it fills my heart to teach people and see other people grow and reach their goals. Like that fulfills me. But it can't be the only thing. I can't just give all of my energy to other people all the time. Sometimes I got to go fill up my own cup. I have time with my family and my friends and walk my dogs. And that requires a really amazing team of people that are over here doing all the things that I set into motion so I can pop in and go, hey, everything good? Awesome. Here's what you need. Let me remove some roadblocks. Great job, team. I'm going to be back in a minute.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think for every business, that is goal, right? That's the goal. The goal is to get to that point because, again, you can't not live life because you're consumed by your business. There are people out there that want to do that for you. And another thing, and I'm sure you'll touch on it here in a second, is really decide what it is that you're asking for when you ask for an assistant.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we talked about the tasks. We talked about some systems. This is bordering dangerously on self-accountability. Ugh. What does that look like?
Yeah. People, I know a lot of people aren't okay with it, which I love your uncomfortability. Like that makes me happy because
I'm like, I'm fulfilled when people are growing, and you're like, I love it when people are uncomfortable.
Because that means that there's opportunity. Like I don't look at that as a negative. I look at it as a positive because it's like there's room for growth, there's room for development, and that means like if you're perfect, who can? Like if you're perfect, you don't like. What goal? Like, where's the ceiling? Like, where's the glass ceiling? Like, there's nowhere for you to go. You're perfect. Great. But for everybody who else is in the world, you're not perfect. And so because you're not perfect, there's opportunity for growth. And so, like, for me, it's like your uncomfortability really, really says a lot about your character. And then your ability to be very transparent with your team and in your team, even if you don't have a team right now, but the team that you wish to have. That speaks a lot.
Well, and so when we're talking about accountability, I think that that's what it comes down to, right? Is that what you've reviewed is that we can have a very successful relationship with an assistant or with any member of our team, right? If I hire an account manager, if I hire an operations person, if I hire a whatever, right? An assistant, part-time, full-time, whatever it is. But some of that, almost all of it actually, is reliant on our ability to clearly define our needs, is what I heard you say, to transparently train people to be very intentional about creating systems and being open with people to say, this is how I do it. This is how I want you to do it. This is why we do it that way. Here's a video to show you how we do it. And then there's some accountability around, not to say that everybody's a great employee, right? Sometimes you're going to find people that aren't the right fit, but when people aren't meeting your high standards, exactly. Taking a step back and saying, did I give them everything that they needed to get it done the way I want? Or there's some accountability there. Or did I say, hey, go book all these meetings? And then they came back and they booked them at a bunch of times in places I didn't want. And they're like, well, that's what you asked me to do. Is that their fault? Or were we not clear enough?
Exactly. And I think a lot of times it's easier to blame another person than to blame yourself and to look at the person in the mirror. And I get that, right? But I also want to tell the world and share my vision with the world is you're not perfect. You're going to miss the mark. It's okay. But this is where you are. So let's start right here. Like if you tell your assistant, go wash my car, which depending on what kind of assistant you need, they might wash your car.
Maybe that's what you need. Yep. Maybe your car's got a big old marketing message on the side. It's got to be shiny and clean. We don't know.
Right. It's part of the business process. But if you're like, hey, go wash my car, and then they didn't tell you that your tire was flat after they wash their car. You can't get mad because you asked them to wash your car. So we have a podcast. This Long Ago has a podcast, so you look that up. So I won't dive too deep. But listen, you are asking for something, but you're wanting something else. In hindsight, assistant has been the word that we have used to classify anyone who helps us. It's very broad.
It's a catch-all.
Or helps us in general. It's a very broad. So my goal and what my ask to everybody in business who is thinking about an assistant, find out what you need and ask for that. Because if you ask for an assistant, then that's what you're going to get, and don't be mad when they provide you assistant work. If you're asking for an administrator, say that.
What's the difference? What's the difference between an assistant and an administrator?
So an assistant is going to do something that you tell them to do, and they're going to do exactly what you ask them to do. And you really can't be mad at that person because you told them to do it. That's an assistant, right? An administrator is someone who goes beyond an assistant. Someone who's like tuned in and tapped on to what it is that you need within your organization.
So they're the person that you say, hey, I need my car to be washed before that big event this weekend. And they know that you mean, I need the car to be washed and detailed inside and out because I'm going to be driving around clients. And also, can you go ahead and get my tires filled up so I don't have to worry about that, potentially being a problem?
And can you fill it with water bottles? Because the people that I'm having in the back, I'm picking up from the airport. I don't know. They might want something to drink. That's an administrator. Someone that can think ahead and think beyond what the ask is. An assistant is someone that's going to do exactly what you say. Now, please understand, when you're asking for an assistant, you're going to get an assistant. When you ask for an administrator, you're going to get an administrator. Right. But there are two different price tags associated with it. You got to understand what exactly that you're asking for. Now, because this is a new wave, right? Virtual assistants. I've been in the business for 5 years. So when I started, I had to Google what it was that I did. And I didn't even know, I thought I was a concierge. So I didn't know. But it's like being in the industry for so long, I now understand what exactly they're looking for. And when you're looking to hire, whether you hire an assistant from
virtually anywhere around the world,
Africa, wherever, whether you are looking for a characteristic trait, and you cannot be mad when that person that you hire does not have that because you did not look for that.
Yeah, just marinate in that. Well, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of people don't know the difference, right? Because like you said, assistant is a catch-all word that we use to describe a lot of different types of support. And so, if you are not looking into that, if you're not delving further into it, it's easy to just throw up and say, hey, I need assistant. I need someone to help me. And what you want is the person to put the water in the back seat, the water bottles in the back seat. And what you're asking for is the person who went, yep, I washed it. Now what? And that's the thing. It's not that either one is wrong. It's just that you have to be really clear about what you're doing, what you would love to give to someone else, and what you would love to be able to do if you had the right kind of support. So question for you. You mentioned virtual assistant, and I'm so thankful for your time. I'm going to wrap it up here. But what is it, when we say, hey, we're ready for this, where are some places we can go? I mean, obviously we can call and talk to you, but, where are some places that we can go? Because again, if you put an assistant resume out on Indeed or, LinkedIn or something like that, you're probably going to get a whole hodgepodge of people. Where are some reputable places? Where can we start that search?
So first of all, figure out what you want. And then once you figured out what it is and what's a good fit for your organization, you want to look on LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pretty good because a lot of people, especially people that you can outsource work to, such as myself, were there. So I'd say LinkedIn. I'd say even in Indeed. The thing is with Indeed, be specific of your ask. Don't just go out there and say, hey, looking for an assistant, because you're going to get a hodgepodge of people. Be specific on the ask. Outside of those places, Facebook groups. There's virtual agencies everywhere. If you're looking for someone that's overseas, there's a lot of places you can go to. You can go to Pineapple Express. You can go to Velp. You can go to any of these places. But the thing is, you have to be specific and knowledgeable about the ask, because these people have assistants. I mean, I have another company in my mind. What is it? VA Agencies Plus. I don't know. It's like Instagram is another good one. You could just type in Instagram, within Instagram, just type in VA agencies, VA, virtual assistants, all the things. Because the thing is, everybody that is a VA, we always tag our stuff. So if you just search the hashtag, it's going to pop up. You'll find some good local candidates that's right there in your area. But again, be specific of your ask, because if you're not, you cannot be mad when you get what it is that you asked for.
Right, right. So, okay, so if there's one thing we're taking away from the whole show today, it's be real specific about what you want. For the love of goodness, be very specific about what you want. And I think that you've given us some really great tools to do that, an exercise to walk through, to narrow that down, to really come up with a task list, and then to come and say, hey, not only do I know I need these things done, but I'm gonna make myself accountable for creating some systems and some training to set that other person up for success. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of this wealth of information on how we can scale our business.
Absolutely. Well, again, like I said, thank you so much for having me. It is always a pleasure to be able to talk about my passion in virtual assistants, and even assistants everywhere. I mean, because the thing is, like I said, I was doing it before it was a thing. Like, I was doing it when it wasn't really cool. And everybody was like, I remember my mom and dad was like, so what are you doing again? Like, you don't have a job? And I'm like, no, I have a job, but I have a lot of jobs for a lot of different people. So you don't have a job. I'm like, okay. So I appreciate your time, and thank you guys so much for having me. And shout out to SCORE to provide us with this amazing opportunity for you and I to get together and connect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we will see everybody next time. Thank you.